Over to you, Annie. Thanks.
Fred. Today on Kids Biz we have Danny, and she's a senior counsellor at Youth Focus, and we're going to be talking about depression and how you can get help. Hi Danny, thanks for coming on the show.
You're welcome.
So why do you think that so many children in today's day and age suffer from depression?
Well, I think there's a lot of significant pressure on young people today. If we look at the current statistics, 6% of young people aged between 16 to 24 years old will experience some form of depression in Australia today. A lot of the things we see at Youth Focus are young people coming in and talking about stresses with exams and school. Some young people really struggle with bullying, some have family issues, and others have problems managing things on social media and things like that. So if we break it down and look at it, we're actually living in the digital age at the minute. So I think that's why it's so difficult for a lot of adults today to understand what young people go through, because it just simply wasn't like that for them growing up.
Yeah.
That's why it's very important that when a young person comes to us to talk about depression, that we listen very closely to them so we can understand exactly what they're experiencing.
So let's say I'm feeling really sad and I just can't shake the feeling, and I'm feeling really tired and I just don't feel like doing anything. Am I suffering from depression, or am I just having a bad couple of weeks?
Well, I actually think sadness is a really normal human emotion.
Yeah.
It's something that we all feel from time to time and that we can expect to experience in our lives. And when you think about it, sometimes feeling sad is just as important as feeling happy as well. When we start to get concerned is when someone starts to feel sad all of the time, so much so that it starts to have an impact on their daily lives. When we see this happening with other things, like maybe a young person not wanting to go out so much anymore, starting to lose enjoyment in things they used to find really cool, and maybe going through their days feeling like they have a lack of energy or no motivation, then we might start to get concerned about the signs and symptoms of depression. But look, everyone has ups and downs in life, and we all have changes in mood, and that is perfectly normal. That's why it's so important to recognize the difference in these things as well. So if we see these other things happening consistently, we can talk to the person and get them the type of help that they need.
So if I'm suffering from depression, what can I do to help myself?
So a lot of adults as well as young people would really struggle to manage depression on their own. So sometimes the best way to treat depression is to go and speak to someone who you trust. Share with them what you're feeling and get some really good support in place. Once you have this support in place, I've heard young people come to me and tell me some things that they find really helps them to manage the symptoms of depression. Some young people like to get some really fun, sporty exercise in their lives. Others like to get really creative and do some painting or drawing. And others just like to chill out with a good movie or a good book to help them relax.
And you mentioned some apps that people can go to get some.
Yeah, there are heaps of really cool apps out there these days, which I'm hearing some very good reports about. My favourites at the minute are Reach Out Worry Time, Reach Out Breathe, and the Smiling Mind app. These apps are really cool because they're free to download, and you can find them by searching on the App Store on your iPhone or your tablet.
So how else can you get help?
So the best thing to do if you're concerned that you're struggling with the symptoms of depression is to go and speak to a trusted adult, maybe your parents or a teacher, or maybe even a favourite aunt and uncle. The most important thing to remember is you're never alone. There are people out there and there are organisations out there who can help support your family and who can help support you through what can be sometimes a really difficult time.
So let's say I don't want my parents to know about my suffering from depression because I feel like it would burden them, or maybe I just don't want them to know. Where else can I go?
Okay, so at Youth Focus, we always try to encourage young people to talk to their parents or caregivers, simply because they can be such a great source of support and help. However, we also understand that there are some young people out there who wouldn't really feel comfortable doing this, or who might not have the relationship in place to make them feel able to do this. So in these cases, we would always advise to seek out another trusted adult to speak to. I know lots of young people have came to Youth Focus after speaking to their school psychologist or the year coordinators, or even a close family friend. There are also some young people out there that don't have access to close supports. In times like these, it can be useful to have a contact with a really good GP. There are also some really good online supports out there at the minute as well. Places like eHeadspace, the Black Dog Institute, and reachout.com.au. Or you can even visit the Youth Focus website, youthfocus.com.au.
Thanks so much for coming on the show, Danny. I hope everyone learnt a lot. I certainly did. And if you are suffering from depression, or you just generally feel down, make sure you talk to someone, because you're not alone. For more information, go to the Couch website, thecouch.com.au. Thanks for watching Kids Biz, and back to you, Fred.
Thank you, Annie.